Hello there, World of Tankers, I'm World Blitz, and welcome to the channel. Hopefully all of you are doing well out there. I'm of course your host, Drudels Blitz, and in today's video, we're going to be doing yet again another comparison video. This time, two Tier 8 Tech Tree Heavy Tanks, the IS-3 and as well the Tiger II, the king of German Tigers. Now, of course, if you enjoyed today's video and you want to see more like it, please make sure to consider smashing that subscribe button down below, especially because you can actually vote and decide what videos you want to see come out next on the channel. I like to post polls at least once a week on my community tab, so make sure to check that out. If you are subscribed, you'll be notified when I post polls. But getting straight into it, we're going to be starting off with the IS-3. This is, in my opinion, a fantastic Tier 8 vehicle. Now, it does need a little bit of a gun buff, in my opinion, just on the aiming time, because, yeah, 6.3 second aiming time, I think it is fully equipped. Yes, it is. Even fully equipped, you'll see that, yeah, that aiming time definitely does not slap. It is pretty dang atrocious. But even with the bad aiming time, the nice thing about this tank is that its gun has very nice standard penetration, sitting at 236 millimeters. What that means is that you're easily going to cut through any frontal armor at Tier 8, and if you need to load the premium 278 millimeters, and it is APCR, which means of course it still gets shell normalization, it can cut through walls and other buildings. The nice thing is that with that penetration, you're really easily able to penetrate through Tier 9 opponents, let's say like an E-75 or an M103, so it's really nice on the penetration. Not only that, but because this is a Russian Tier 8 heavy tank, it carries that big standard alpha 400 damage, so it's got a lot of good things going for it. Also, another really nice thing is the mobility. This tank has a power to weight ratio of around 17, which is fantastic. You're able to go 38 kilometers per hour on average, and that is of course your top speed, so you're really quick on mobility. You've got great traverse speed. Honestly, the IS-3 has a lot of things going for it, and that's why I personally really enjoy playing this tank, but it definitely has its downsides. With that really nice mobility, the hull armor, yeah, it's definitely lacking in the armor. A KV-4 or let's say a KV-5, or pretty much all the Tier 8 opponents on the enemy team are easily going to cut through my armor as long as they are at least a competent player knowing where to shoot the lower plate, or even the upper plate's only about 220. So the IS-3 definitely lacks in the armor department, but it makes up in mobility. You can see I'm already racing right up to my top speed of 38. Now I'm already up to my top speed. I'm able to really easily maneuver my way. You can see right in the position. The turret speed's quick on this tank. Honestly, the mobility is what makes it up in my opinion, because you're really easily able to flank, you're able to get in a position, and you're able to hold that position really well with the 1900 hit points that this vehicle does get. As you can see there, like I spotted the T92. If I was running an IS-5, yeah, I probably would not have been able to actually get there quick enough in position. Now, it looks like that T92 did fire a missile at me, and did miss it as well, which of course is fantastic for me, because we're able to get a nice little roll for the perfect number of 420 rate on the T92. So it looks like that 92 is running away very quickly from us, which is always good for me. And now we've got a tank like this KV-4, and because that KV-4 stock, I'm not worried about him penetrating me whatsoever. And as you can see, I said the gun is fantastic on that penetration. Even the KV-4, which had that buff frontal plate, still really doesn't match anywhere near how good the penetration is on this gun. You can see if you let it aim in, the shots go where you want. And of course, that alpha is really nice when trying to damage vehicles like that. So this is where the gun really just does a really nice job of slapping out those damage numbers. So again, we'll aim on that KV-4's lower plate and fire. Oof, but there is that wonderful .367 dispersion or whatever. Definitely is going to miss a lot of shells if you don't aim them in fully, and even there was a pretty well aimed in shot, just didn't want to connect hitting the enemy. So we got that KV-5 sticking its turret out. We'll see if we can hit a shot on it. No, we are not going to be able to. There is one disadvantage with, of course, AP's your standard shell, and that is shell velocity. What that means is it's really going to be slow trying to hit the enemy. Now, I do see this T-25-2 right off to the side, and honestly, I'd rather get a shell into the 25-2 than the KV-4, because I'm not worried about him penning me, or as you can see, even hitting me. He is a stock vehicle. So the T-25-2 in this scenario, in my personal opinion, is actually a bigger threat. Now, we've got the E-75 off to the side here, and hopefully we're going to be able to get a nice little beefy shell right into the side. There is another issue with this tank, which is the gun depression, only sitting at 5 degrees, but if you play it correctly, you should be doing quite well. Now, there's a nice little bounce on the side armor. This thing does have that really troll side armor that most of the Russian heavies do have, but right now I'm going to try and take out that KV-4 just because it's a little bit of hit points that I need to grab before the team does either get slapped by that T-92 or other tanks like that. So here we go. Let's get a nice little penetrating shell. Actually, I'm just going to have to pull up here. Hopefully the KV, yeah, he's not a great player. But there we go, nice little tap right into the KV-4. I'm just going to pull right up. Honestly, I'm not even worried about the guy. I've really got to finish him off before my team starts to get slapped by the other enemy tanks. So let's aim it on that lower plate once again. And, oh, big low roll there. Definitely a little bit of a downfall for me, but hopefully this KV-4 will not pen me, or the Yag Tiger will just penetrate the shot onto the KV-4. There we go, nice penetrating shot. We've got the T-25-2 right in front of us. Let's get a nice finishing shell right into you as well. So there we go. We're slapping out that damage left, right, and centered now. We're sitting at almost 3,000 damage, actually over 3,000 damage as you can see, which again is a very respectable amount, and we're just going to keep on bringing the pain if we do have the ability to. You can see there that IS-6 was just slowly making its way up that hill, where I can just easily climb my way right up this hill. Since that IS-6 did just fire on that T-92 as well, what that means is we're hopefully going to be able to finish him off right there. Oh, come on, again with the low rolls. I'm waiting for this Russian bias, but it's not really liking me yet. So we got the AMX CDC right here, and of course, again, I can use that mobility and try and chase down the AMX CDC. Do I want to shoot an HE shell? Yeah, why not? We're going to shoot an HE right at the butt of the guy, and fire. Ooh, it did not penetrate, but you know what? At the same time, we did just get a very nice bounce on the T-92 bouncing us, so we're almost sitting at 4,000 damage now. And even though my Yag Tiger is getting hit quite a bit, we're still able to pretty quickly get our way in the position here. There we go, finishing off the AMX CDC. We've got a 4 health T-92 left on the enemy team. And other than that, all that's left is this KV-5, who looks like he's going to get really quickly teared apart by this Yag Tiger. And as well, we're going to get a nice little slap right in the side as well. So we're doing our job here. Not sure what this Yag Tiger is doing, to be fair. Another bounce from the T-92. Got that really thick spaced armor on the side of this vehicle, just kind of like the IS-7. Not sure what this Yag Tiger is doing, but we were able to get a nice little shot into him. And this is a fantastic battle, really to show how the IS-3 can work if played in the correct scenarios. So all that's left is a 4 health T-92. I'm going to wait, of course, until I do have a shell, just in case he is waiting somewhere around here. Now, I don't know where the T-92 could have gone. He probably went towards this way, so I'm going to come as quickly as I can over to this side. We're going to find out, of course, if he did go this way, either by spotting him or we're going to be spotted, but my guess is the T-92, ooh, actually he doubled back. I'll give the guy credit. He's probably going to be able to maybe get a shot. The issue right now is apparently our Yag Tiger's lagging and our IS-6 is a one-shot, and he didn't seem to be the best of players. No anything wrong towards him, but just, as you know, that T-92 will easily finish him off now with a standard shell, so it's going to be down to me to just chase down a light tank with 1 minute and 50 seconds left, which is not necessarily the most enjoyable thing. So the real question is, which way did the T-92 go? Is he trying to flank all the way around to the back of the map here, which I'm going to definitely think he might be trying to do here. If he is, I'll be detected and I'll be able to outspawn him, but I'm going to just try and cut him off just in case he is trying to flank. Oh, he finished off the Yag, and he's back in the corner. Of course he is. So now it's just going to be me versus a T-92 as I slowly make my way towards him. Oh, great. This is fantastic. So this game might actually be a draw, which is not something that I like. Yep, there you go. T-92 finishing off my teammate there, and it's just me driving along now. So it looks like the T-92 is actually coming towards this way. Now, hopefully he's not the biggest of brain players, which means that if he runs this way, I will spot him. If he turns around, it's going to be the end. But I'm going to make my bet and say that he's not the best of players, and that way, hopefully, we run right into him. He doesn't know where I am, of course, which is definitely an advantage for me. He might think that I'm kind of slow or something like that, but hopefully, oh yes, here we go. T-92 right in front of us, and finish him off. Another bounce right in the front. So thankfully, that 92 is not the biggest of brain players. Did not double back for the 3rd time in a row. So not only were we able to block a lot of damage there, over 2,000 damage blocked, we were able to do 4,700 damage and pull out a mastery, because that is the IS-3. If you know how to play it correctly and you know where to push it, use the mobility to your advantage, take out the mobile tanks, then take out the bad tanks, it will do fantastic. Now, I will say that poor KV-4 definitely needs to play a little bit more blitz, as you saw there, but even with that KV-4, we were able to support our team, get shots in, covering fire, and really easily carry that game into victory. So, of course, after playing a fantastic battle like that, getting out a mastery with over 4,000 damage there, you can definitely see that the IS-3 is a very solid tier 8 heavy. If you play it in the correct scenarios and you manage to get that gun working, it really does hurt quite a bit. Well, you don't have that accuracy. One thing you do have is mobility, and as well, spectacular turret armor. In fact, the turret frontally on this tank is probably one of the stronger turrets at tier 8. People aren't going to be able to penetrate it with heat shells. Premium shells really just bounce right off of the turret. So it's really nice that it's got that mobility, as well well, it's a very low profile, which is something that the Tiger II definitely does not carry, a very low profile. So my personal opinion is the IS-3 is a solid tank. I think it's actually perfect where it is currently in the game. But I will say the Tiger II is definitely a better tier 8 vehicle. Not only does it have better frontal armor, like way better. The upper plate on the Tiger II is sitting at around 270 millimeters thick. The lower plate is about 250, which means that if at such an angle like that, it's almost impossible to penetrate the upper plate and the lower plate with any standard rounds from tier 8 vehicles, unless of course you're running like a T-34, which then is just going to cut through you like butter. But honestly, the Tiger II's frontal armor is crazy on how thick it is. But not only does it have great frontal armor, the gun on this tank has fantastic value. Because going for it, I'm actually running gun rammer on this tank because the penetration is so good. 225 on the standard, 285 on the premium, and even with that, you've got great damage per minute, 2100. The dispersion is 0.308, one of the best dispersions in class for a tier 8 heavy tank. The aiming time is 3.6 seconds, and as well, the average damage is decent at 310. It's definitely nowhere near the IS-3's 400, but when you've got a higher DPM, of course, it's always going to make up for it. Now, it also has 7 degrees of gun depression, which is going to make it way more flexible in most positions, and it as well, that wasn't really English, but it as well goes the same top speed at 38 kilometers per hour. It's got a power to weight ratio of 12, which is definitely less than the 17 on the IS-3, but it's still going to get up to that top speed nonetheless. So yeah, the Tiger II is pretty much just a better vehicle, as you saw there in statistics, in armor profile, the gun's better, it's just a better tank. But as I said, that still doesn't mean the IS-3 is a bad vehicle, it's just kind of outclassed by the Tiger II. Honestly, I think that the Tiger II is just as good as the E-75 TS that has just currently come out. The only reason I like the E-75 TS better is because it's got that spaced armor on the sides, which stops people like T-49 or let's say missiles from penetrating the side of the vehicle, and as well it's got 3 more degrees of gun depression. But you'll notice here that this tank has got a great power to weight ratio, already upwards of 30 kilometers per hour, almost reaching that top speed of 38 already, just making my way swiftly through the town, and we'll see if we can get out some nice shots. Now there are a couple issues with the Tiger II. The first one is the turret armor. Unlike the IS-3, this one's kind of vice versa. The turret armor on this tank is not the best. You'll notice here, loading premium, while I'm actually able to easily cut through that Tiger II's upper plate, and very surprised that that shell actually missed. I'm not too worried though about being penned by that glacial, because again, I've got such good armor going for me, it's just fantastic for the vehicle. So let's get a nice tap right into that glacial's lower plate. Of course, I'm not worried about missing shots when you got 0.308 dispersion, so yeah, that's one thing you never really have to worry about, is missing shells in a Tiger II. We've got that glacial once again, and oh boy, that definitely hurt quite a bit. That would be the T-95 cutting right through that frontal plate. Of course, the T-95 is going to do that because, yeah, it's a T-95, but let's get a shot into this Pantera. There we go. You can see 3 standard shells bouncing right off the frontal armor on this vehicle, because of course I've got that great armor going for me. And let's get a finishing shell right into the side of that Pantera. Okay, Wargaming. I guess we're going to bounce off the rear of a Pantera, because that is my luck today. But not the end. I'm just going to keep on driving through. We've got that Tiger II who's turned his turret to the side. Use our good aiming time, snap that shell right in on him. The main vehicle I'm kind of worried about right now, of course, is that T-95. But you know what? The 95 actually can't aim at us currently. Let's go quickly. There we go, using that mobility to the advantage it has, of course, and that way we're able to really quickly get around. I'm pretty sure the ISU fired, but even if it didn't, we're able to get a nice little tap into him as it is. Now, the Tortoise does have a good gun, but one issue with the Tortoise is that it doesn't really have fantastic armor going for it, so we can just load premium and easily penetrate that Tortoise. He is just kind of in a bit of a pickle right now. As you can see, he's being chased by a bunch of tanks. Let's get a nice tap, max roll as well, right in the top of you. Now we've got the T-95 off to the side, and as well the E-75 TS. So let's get some shots into the T-95. Can't penetrate him with HE. Well, we could have penned him with HE in the rear, but yeah, we're just going to continue firing standard shells here. Maybe even get a nice little ram into the side of him. There we go. Oh, I may have just killed my 54. I'm sorry, 54. I did not mean to do that. But we're still going to try the best we can here. 2,400 damage picked up already. And let's see if we can start getting shells into this T-95. See if we can get off a finishing shell right in the top. And while we didn't finish him off, still a nice little shot for 307. So there you go. That was 2,755 damage dealt with the Tiger II. You can see there that the frontal armor worked. It wasn't really a great game to show how well the frontal armor is. But even then, we still did 2,800 damage. If we hadn't bounced that shell on the rear of the Pantera, we would have easily broken 3,000 damage. And it's just a great example example of how well the Tiger II works if played correctly. So, yeah, I really enjoy playing this vehicle. It's definitely up there on my favorite Tier 8 vehicles list. I think the VK100 takes the cake. And as well, I actually enjoy running the IS-3 more because it's got more mobility, it's got that big alpha. It is more fun to run around with big alpha in my opinion. But the Tiger II, honestly, if you haven't ground this vehicle already, go for it. This is one of the best Tier 8s you can currently grind in the game. It's free, and what's stopping you, because the E100 is a fantastic Tier 10 as well. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Of course, if you agree with me, please let me know. But as well, if you disagree and you think the IS-3 is better, please let me know as well in the comments down below. But hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Other than that, hopefully you click that subscribe button. I've said hopefully about, 5 times now, but I think you guys enjoyed. I don't really know what to say, but hopefully you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to smash that subscribe button down below. And other than that, I'll see you in the next one.